Good morning again, everybody, and happy Tuesday to you all. I hope you had a really good day yesterday, and I wonder what your actions said about you yesterday. That's what we were thinking about in our story, wasn't it? With the two sons. How did your actions show the kind of person that you are? Did you show kindness yesterday? Did you do somebody a good turn? Did you help them at playtime or during lessons? Because in the story that Jesus told yesterday, it was all about how actions speak louder than words. And did you have to say sorry yesterday? I bet you did, because there are all sorts of ups and downs in any school day. And if you said sorry, did you really mean it? Did you mean that I'll try really hard to not make that happen again, or I'll try to make that right? Because that's the important thing, isn't it? And that's what we learned yesterday. And I promised you one of my favourite stories from the Bible today. It's another story that Jesus told to the people when he used to gather them on hillsides or in fields to tell them stories, to help them to learn how to live a good life. And it made me think very much of a song that we used to sing, particularly with years 1 and 2, either last year or the year before. And it's really tough in school at the moment because due to the coronavirus and the way that it's spread, we've been advised that we shouldn't really be singing together in our classrooms. And I really miss it. We used to meet together, didn't we, every Wednesday for our singing assemblies with all our actions and all our lovely songs. And I'm hoping it's not going to be too long before we can do that again. But I'll just give you a reminder of this song. Perhaps you'll remember it. It's about the wise man and the foolish man. So it went, the wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock, and the rain came tumbling down. Do you remember? The rain came down and the floods went up. The rain came down and the floods went up. The rain came down and the floods went up, but the house upon the rock stayed strong. Do you remember, though, the verse about the foolish man? The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand, and the rain came tumbling down. Now, we can't sing, but you can join in with the actions. The rains came down and the floods went up. The rains came down and the floods went up. The rains came down and the floods came up. And the house upon the sand fell flat. Ooh, a really dramatic ending to that song. And that song is all about another of Jesus' stories, which I came across year 1, actually. They were learning about this in their RE lesson with Mrs. Lewis last week. The wise man and the foolish man. And sometimes this story is called The House on the Rock. So whilst I'm reading, really think carefully. We love the song, we like the story. What message do you think it has for us in school as children and as adults about how to live a good life? Here is a man. He's looking for a place to build his house. There he is. He's got all his tools with him this morning. He climbs to the top of a big grey rock. Aha, here is a good place. Looks to me like he's the wise man. I think he's going to choose to build his house on the rock. Just have a sip of my tea. There we go. The man begins to build his house. Oh, it's hard work. He puffs and pants. He puffs and pants and grunts and groans all day until the work is done. Just in time, he said. It looks like rain. He's just built his house and shut the door when the first drops of rain come down. The rain pours down, the lightning flashes, the thunder booms, the water washes around the house and splashes at the rock. Gosh, I hope he's safe and sound in there, because that rainstorm is really, really coming down. The rock stayed firm. The man was wise to choose the rock. And there he is after the storm had passed, and the sun rising in the morning, safe and sound in his house upon the rock. Here is another man. He wants a house. I want it now. I'll just do it quick. This place will do, he says. carrying everything that he needs. Oh dear. I'm not sure that the future bodes well for this chap. He builds his house down on the sand. Oh, this won't take long, he says, and he whistles as he works. Children, I don't think he's built his house, on firm foundations. Look at that. It looks like the merest puff of wind would probably blow it down. I don't think he's taken enough care to build his house on firm foundations. The house is done. He goes inside and shuts the door. A raindrop drips onto his nose. Oh dear. Do we think that the foolish man who's built his house so quickly with so little care, a little bit like the hare in the tortoise, do you think his house is going to last during this really bad storm? The rain pours down again, the lightning flashes, the thunder booms, the water rushes in through the house and splashes at his knees. Oh, foolish man, you should have taken more care to build your house on firm foundations, just like the man who built his house on the rock. The sand was washed away. The house falls flat. The silly man was wrong to build on sand. I think he's okay, but he hasn't got much left, has he, of his house? It wasn't the right place. So what on earth can we learn from this story about how we live our lives? Well, Jesus said, I am like the wise man's rock. If you trust me, I will never let you down. And as a nice little end to the story, it looks like the wise man has invited the foolish man to come and stay in his secure house up on the rock. Gosh, that's quite a hard story. It's a great story. But let's think about what that might actually mean for us as human beings living on planet Earth. How does the story of the wise and foolish man help us? For me, I think it's all about how strong your foundations, how strong is your base. And I think our whole lives are built upon our values and the things that are important. And when you're at school, you're really building up the rock, you're really building up the foundations for everything else that your life is going to be built on. And what you do now and what you learn now is going to take you through into adult life. So learning all the important things about how to live a good life, being kind, being nice, being honest, being able to forgive people when they've made mistakes, and to apologise and to mean it. I think all of those things are our foundations. And then there's our learning, the maths that we're learning, the English that we're learning. They're all the foundations to your academic studies you're learning. And you'll need them as you go into secondary school and into college and university. I've got a bit of a tickle today. I'll have another drink. They're the foundations of your learning, and you need those too. So make sure that every day you are making your foundations, your rock, stronger. And the more that you learn and the more that you put those good things into practice now, the better a human being you'll be. So if you're kind, if you help other people, if you work really, really hard and don't just rush things like the man with the sand and the hare and the tortoise, then you're building a stronger foundation, a stronger rock onto which to build the rest of your life. Do have a think and a little talk in your class about what you think that story means. And if you've got any more ideas about what the message, what the moral of that story might be that Jesus told, then I would really love for you to share them with me. So that's all for today. Have a really great Tuesday. And tomorrow's story, what shall we do tomorrow? We're going to get the Bible out again. And we're going to have another look at one of the most famous stories that Jesus told to the people that he gathered around. And it's got lots of different names. Sometimes it's called the Good Neighbour. Very often it's called the Good Samaritan. And again, we're going to think about what can we learn from that story and take into our lives. So have a good Tuesday, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.